Yo, what is going on, guys, ladies and gentlemen? Jitter here, and in today's video, I've got a pretty important one to go over, and it is the do's and the don'ts of building your first computer. Now, this is actually something that a lot of people may mess up when they're building their first computer, whether it's cheaping out on a part that they should actually be, putting a little more time, money, and effort into. And I've seen this so many times, it's kind of gotten out of hand. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the first one, and that is being cheap power supplies. Now, obviously, I'm using Google Images to this, but obviously, who cares? It's Google Images. They're on Google. It's Google. But basically, your power supply is the main focus of your system. Now, I've had multiple times where people would come in, say that, hey, look, my computer isn't working. I go in there, I look at their power supply. I'm like, dude, that's most likely what's causing your problem. I hook up a new power supply, system's working, or power supply just fried it all. Now, you definitely do not want to cheap out on a power supply. Spend the extra $20 and get a quality power supply with an 80 plus rating, at least bronze. Now, that is probably my biggest recommendation out of like building any kind of computer is do not buy cheap power supplies. And this is probably one of the biggest things that a new computer builder could mess up. Now, the next one. This one is probably going to surprise everybody, and that is don't buy cheap wireless adapters. Now, everyone might say, what do you mean by this? This is the TL-WDN 3800. This, I actually used to have one. Literally, it threw about month two later, it started throwing me so many issues. It wasn't even worth keeping. I actually went back and read the reviews on it, and I wasn't the only one having the same issues. People all over were having the same issues, saying that it stay connected to the Wi-Fi for about 5 or 6 seconds while doing something online, and then it just disconnect. Now, another one is don't buy USB ones, because those honestly don't give you very good bandwidth. They literally only give you probably about 4 to 5 megabytes per second if you're lucky. That's if your internet's even good, because yeah, it's awful. I wouldn't do it. If anything, actually get one of these. This is the same one I am using. I was dumb enough to actually lean my tower back while working on it to actually snap the antennas on them. I'm still using it, just held together my masking tape. But don't cheap out on this. Another one is don't try and throw parts together. Just like, don't be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go on eBay and buy a bunch of fucking parts and hope they work together. No, use reputable sites like PC Part Picker. I have seen this so many times before. I actually have a H110 motherboard that a kid decided, you know what, I'm going to stick a 6700 in, and that was the biggest mistake he could have ever done, because it killed the motherboard and it killed the CPU. It was probably the saddest thing I've ever seen, because I was actually pretty sad, because that motherboard went for at least about $170, because it was one of those really nice SLI motherboards. This one will tell you if something is not compatible. So let's say I wanted a Ryzen CPU, and I go to motherboard, and I want, just I don't know, we're gonna do a B350. It's gonna say, hey, look, there's something wrong here, and in this case, it's the fact that you gotta update it. But obviously, that's one more thing. And one more thing I'm gonna add on the top is take your time. I've seen it before. People dropping CPUs in sockets because they keep getting too excited, or they have an extra standoff down there and they keep causing shorts, because obviously you've got a standoff that isn't supposed to be there, and it's touching solders on the back of your board, and you've got a short. And this, yes, can kill parts pretty quickly. I've seen it happen before. I basically almost seen all the faults that anybody can do. I've seen sockets so messed up that I wasn't even able to bend them back because people drop CPUs in them. I've actually dropped 24 pin ATX connectors into them before. It's not fun to deal with. I couldn't bend it back, but it was only a 1155 socket, so I didn't really have to worry about buying another motherboard. Another one is, please don't drop your parts. Just no. I've actually got a dead Z77 board up. It's one of the nice ass ASRock SLI boards that is sitting in my closet because the person decided, oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and drop it. Yeah, good luck with that. It also killed a 1050 Ti. That thing, you can't even power up your system when it's in it, because if you try and start it up, it just shuts right back down and you're not able to start up your system anymore until you unplug it, hit the power switch on the back of the power supply, hit your power button a few times, and you can go on from there. But it was a really stupid thing that he decided to do. I actually think I still have the case and another motherboard. I don't know. Let's just say my old partner, he dropped so many fucking computers. He dropped, I think, 3 of them by the time I messed up one time, which was dropping the 24 ATX pin thing in the socket, and he dropped 2 computers. I was actually pretty distraught on how he could do that. I haven't dropped the computer yet, thankfully. Surprisingly not. I'm gonna go ahead and do a video later on the time when I get my new cooler, which is the Mugen 5, because my 990X from Intel is pretty fucking hot right now, I'll tell you that much. But I'm gonna go ahead and give you a few more if I could think of them off the top of my head. Oh yeah, also, don't go for the cheapest case you can possibly find. That is probably the dumbest thing you can do, because if you ever want to play the reach around game and cut up your hands, go for it. But obviously a lot of people don't want to do that. Let's go ahead and see if we can find a cheap ass case on here. Show you guys. Let's see. We're gonna go add from filter. No, fuck. That's not what I want to do. Set price. No? Oh, no. It's right here. Fuck, I've only used this on mobile. Let's go to about $40 for 50. That's 49 is good. Let's see. See if I can find one that's. Wait, oh, there's Cougar. All right, Raid Max. That's a cheap looking case right there. That literally looks like you'd stick your finger in there. Next thing you know, you got about 4 different cuts on it. I would not want to touch that. If this thing had rust, bro, it'd look like a tetanus shot. I'll tell you that much. But that's another one. Also, another big one that I was actually talking to somebody on Leica. This is where this brings it up. I was talking to somebody on Leica earlier today, and he was like, hey, I want to go get this pre-built, or should I just have you build me a custom? It was an XPS 420, which has the Dell ATX style, meaning that the motherboard is on the opposite side of the case. So your graphics card fan would be facing up, and then your CPU and your graphics card would be battling for air. So that was not a very good idea. I told him, no, you shouldn't do it. Also, it was a Core 2 quad. Core 2 quad systems for starting systems, you wouldn't want to touch them now because, well, if you're going for a budget rig for just a certain game, but he wanted more games to play. You wouldn't want to touch them because you really have no upgrade ability. Also, the fact that it was a Dell ATX, you'd basically have to buy a whole new system if you wanted to, do any kind of upgrading. Because honestly, the power supply wouldn't even be worth it because the 24 ATX connectors are literally like 4 inches in size. Yeah, no, that's not very good. If you guys ever seen a 24 pin ATX connector, it's not fun. All right, we're gonna go ahead and see if I got more. Oh, another one. Do you really need that extra stick of RAM? come from. I've seen people be like, "Oh no, I need 32 gigs." No, you don't. For gaming, you only need 16. For streaming, you might need around 20. I'm sad because I lost 4 more gigs of RAM for my system, and I'm pretty sad about it because now I'm down to 16 from 20. That's gonna take some time to get used to. If anything, that extra money that you could be spending on that RAM, you can go and be like, oh yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and get a nice SSD. Say right here, it's 970, which NVMe, either way, close enough. But that's going to be the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed it, if you guys found anything helpful, go ahead and please drop me a like. Gets me out there to a bigger audience. If you didn't, well, dislike button's there. I'm pretty sure it won't work, but go for it. I'm sure it won't work like your computer, but hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.